Hello everyone, welcome to class 11 physics. In the previous video, we have understood about significant figures and related rules. Now, in this lecture, we are going to see about the dimensions and dimensional formulas. Okay, so let us see what exactly are dimensions. So now, before we start, let us recall one specific type of quantities. They were derived quantities, right? Total, we have seen two type of quantities. One were fundamental quantities, and another were derived quantities. Fundamentals were the basic seven quantities, right? But what were derived quantities? Quantities which were not fundamental, and quantities those which can be expressed by using fundamental quantities, right? So every derived quantity can be expressed as a combination of seven fundamental quantities, right? So here we have to apply the knowledge of which were the seven fundamental quantities, right? So in the bracket you can see length, mass, time, current, temperature, luminous intensity, and amount of substance. These were the seven fundamental quantities, and every derived quantity can be expressed as the combination of these seven. Okay, out of that, in most of the derived quantities that we will use in this chapter or in future chapters, the maximum fundamental quantities which will be used are length, mass, and time. Okay, no doubt we have many kind of other derived quantity which may use other four as well, like temperature, luminous intensity, amount of substance, and current as well. But the most utilized dimensions or quantities, fundamental quantities, are length, mass, and time. Okay, now the fundamental or base quantities which are represented by, first of all, capital letters: L for length, M for mass, T for time, A for electric current, K for temperature, CD, that is candela's short form, that is for luminous intensity, and MOL will be for amount of substance, right? And square brackets are also necessary. Remember what, why are we using these things? To represent the derived quantity in terms of formula, we are using this capital letters and square brackets. Okay, so basically what is dimensional formula? It is just a kind of representation of that derived quantity in terms of the basic fundamental quantities, right? So the essence of this whole thing lies in that any physical derived quantity can be expressed in terms of combination of seven fundamental or base quantities. So this is what we are going to learn, right? So let us see what is dimensional formula and what are dimensions. Dimensional formula is an expression which shows how and which fundamental quantities represent that derived physical quantity. Okay, and what are dimensions actually? They are the powers to which those fundamental quantities must be raised to represent as physical quantity completely. So dimensions are nothing but the powers, and dimensional formula is nothing but a simple formula which shows the combination of fundamental quantities. Right? Now let us understand this with an example. You can see speed over here is equal to distance upon time. Now speed is a derived physical quantity. It is not fundamental, right? Speed is a derived physical quantity. But if we want to represent speed in terms of the combination of fundamental physical quantities, we can see that it is distance upon time, right? So distance again is not included in that seven list, but distance has the unit of length. So length was the fundamental quantities. So if you want to make it simpler, distance upon time can be written as length upon time. Now you see speed equals to length upon time. Speed is a derived physical quantity while length and time both are fundamental. So you see, speed, which is a derived quantity, can be represented as a combination of few fundamental quantities. Now remember, what was length represented as? It was represented as only L. And what was time? So that was capital T. So it is L by T. Now if you take this T upward, this T is in denominator right now, but if you take it in numerator, that is, if you represent them into single ratio, it will be L and T raised to minus 1. Now L raised to nothing, so we can write L raised to 1. Okay, and as we discussed that every derived physical quantity can be used or can be represented in terms of mass, length and time. So here, even though we don't have any terms of mass, so we can also write m raised to 0. So the dimensional formula of speed is nothing but L1 t minus 1 or m0 L1 t minus 1, right? So this is all about dimensions and dimensional formulas, right? Speed, which was a derived quantity, we represented that in terms of fundamental physical quantities like mass, length and time. So what is speed? The dimensional formula of speed is m0 L1 t minus. Clear? Same way, there are numerous physical quantities which are derived physical quantities, and you can represent all of them in terms of fundamental physical quantity. Now let us see few more examples to clarify what exactly is dimensional formula. Now you see, density is mass upon volume. Okay, density, again let me remind you that it is a derived physical quantity. Okay, mass is a fundamental physical quantity, but volume, again, it is derived. So let us convert first volume in terms of the fundamental quantity, right? So volume is L into B into H. All three you can see they are dimension of length only, right? So volume is 3 times length. Okay, length into length into length, right? So volume can be written as L raised to 3, and mass already it was m raised to nothing, that means m raised to 1. Okay, now let us replace these two in the original formula. So density equals to mass upon volume. In terms of dimensional formula, mass is written as m and volume is written as L cube. So it is m upon L cube. Now when we convert them into single ratio, L cube comes to numerator becomes minus 3. So ultimately it is m L raised to minus 3. Don't forget that m raised to nothing will be m raised to 1. So in the last step, m raised to 1 I have written, L raised to minus 3 it was there, and we don't have any term containing t, but let us represent t as t raised to 0, right? So density's dimensional formula is m1 L raised to minus 3 and t 0. So this is how dimensional formula of density is m1 L raised to minus 3 t raised to 0. Clear? Now let me tell you a very nice trick. If you don't want to remember the formula and if you don't want to do more steps like this in density we did, we must only remember the unit. Like you see, acceleration. The unit of acceleration is meter per second square. No need to remember the formula of acceleration, right? What was the formula of acceleration? It was change in velocity per unit time. So let us not go to that portion. Only the unit of acceleration will be helpful. So meter per second square is the unit of acceleration. Now you see, meter is the unit of length. So in numerator I kept, instead of meter I kept length, and second square is the unit of time. So in the denominator I kept time square. So meter per second square in dimensional way is called length upon time square, right? So dimensional formula of length is L1, so only L I have written, and upon time square, that is t square. So acceleration is L upon t square, that means it is m raised to 0 L raised to 1 and T raised to minus 2. As T square comes in the numerator, it becomes T raised to minus 2. Clear? So if you are only knowing the unit, original SI unit, you will get the dimensional formula very easily. Clear? Now, the uses or applications of dimensional formula and dimension, right? So there is a method in which we are using dimensions and dimensional formula. That method or process is called dimensional analysis, right? So it is a method of studying a physical phenomena on the basis of dimensions. So basically we are doing nothing but converting the derived physical quantities in terms of dimensions, right? But why we are learning all this, why we are doing this all conversion and all this? So there is some specific reason why we are doing this dimensional analysis. That is, there are three in total. Let us see one by one. In this video we may take the first two, and third one will have the separate video for that. So let us see the first one. To convert a physical quantity from one system to another, right? How different systems of units are related with each other. They are related with a kind of conversion. Like if you see meter, right? 1 meter is 100 centimeter. So you see meter and centimeter both are the units of same physical quantity, that is length, but both belongs to different system of unit, right? Okay, so one is MKS unit, one is CGS unit, but physical quantity is same. So how to relate them, how to convert them from one system to another, that is the first application. Second application is to check the correctness of any physical relation. Physical relation here in terms, physical relation or physical quantities which are connected with any formula, like F equals to ma, force equal to mass into acceleration, right? So force, mass and acceleration, they are related with this formula. That is the meaning of physical relation. So if both the sides are same in dimension and dimensional formula, then only the physical relation, the formula, the equation will be correct. Okay, and third one is to derive a relationship between different physical quantities. So it is basically, if we know that a physical quantity is dependent on these few different physical quantities, so we can make a formula, our own derivation of formula. That is the use of dimensional analysis. Now, very carefully you understand this. It is very easy. Relation between units of a physical quantity in different system of units. So here as an example we took a physical quantity called as work. Okay, dimensional formula of work is m1l2t minus 2. Okay, but let us see the units. What are the units? In MKS system the unit of work is joule. Okay, so that is also having the dimensional formula same. But in CGS system the unit of work is erg, ERG. Let us now obtain the relation between joule and erg. Okay, how much is 1 joule converting into erg? So first of all, before we start, let us see how the basic physical quantities M, L and T are related in MKS and CGS. Like M, that is in MKS system, M raised to 1 kilogram will be over here in this system, M raised to 1 gram, right? So mass over here is kilogram, over here is gram. So what is the conversion actually? So MKS system, M will be 1, and in front the CGS system, M will be 10 raised to 3, 1000 gram, 1 kilogram, 1000 gram, right? Over here length is meter, and over here the length is 10 raised to 2, because 1 meter is 10 raised to 2 centimeter, 100 centimeter, right? So this is a conversion, alright? And time here is in second, time here is in second. No need to convert, we will keep it as it is, right? So if you want to convert M of MKS into M of CGS, here 1 M will be equals to 10 raised to 3 over here. Clear? So now let us see and compare joule and erg. So basically what we are doing is to convert MKS system of work into CGS system of work. So now starting from the original formula m raised to 1, L raised to 2, T raised to minus 2. So m raised to 1 in MKS will be converted into m raised to 1 of CGS, that is 10 raised to 3m. Same way L2 over here, L raised to 2. Okay, over here in CGS L of MKS will be converted into 10 raised to 2L and whole square will be repeated. As L raised to 2 is there, over here L raised to 2 will be there. But don't forget to put the bracket. Over here T raised to minus 2 is there. And we know that T and T in both the systems are same. So we are not doing anything. T raised to minus 2, over here also T raised to minus 2. Clear? The only change in the second step is that we are giving the power. 10 raised to 3 raised to 1 is 10 raised to 3, m raised to 1 will be m raised to 1. So here 10 raised to 3 m1, over here 10 raised to 2 raised to 2. So it will be 2 2s are 4. So when it comes out of the bracket, it is 10 raised to 2 L whole square, that is 10 raised to 4 L square. Okay, and t raised to minus 2 will be repeated. Now what we do, let us take these all 10 raised to let us combine them and let us separate out m, l and t. So over here m1, l2 and t minus 2 and 10 raised to 3 and 4 will be added, will give 10 raised to 7. Clear? So now m1 l2 t raised to minus 2 of mks is equal to 10 raised to 7 m1 l2 t minus 2 of cgs. So what is the conversion? 10 raised to 7. That means 1 joule of MKS system is equal to 10 raised to 7 of CGS system, that is erg. So the relation between joule and erg is 1 joule equals to 10 raised to 7 erg. Right? So basically it is a systematic conversion of what we did somewhat in mathematics. Right? When we converted meter into centimeter, when we converted kilogram into gram, so we put 10 raised to something, right? So that is it. But here we are doing systematically, taking care of m, l and t. All right, moving on to the second one, very easy to check the dimensional consistency. That means we have to check or verify that RHS equal to LHS or not. Okay, so that is nothing but principle of homogeneity. A physical equation will be dimensionally valid or dimensionally correct if dimension of all terms on LHS and RHS will be same. Let us take an example that we have an equation f equals to m into a into s. Now we have to check whether this equation is correct or not. So we have to check basically that both the sides the dimensional formula must come same, then only it is correct. So if you use the dimensional formula, force has the dimensional formula m1 l1 t minus 2, right? This you will get when you will solve the dimensional formulas. Now over here m into a into s, m is mass, a is acceleration, s is displacement. So mass dimensional formula is m1, acceleration again you have to use the dimensional formula method and you will get L1 t minus 2 meter per second square, and displacement again will be in length, so it is L1, right? So basically we have m raised to 1, L raised to 1, t raised to minus 2, L raised to 1. So let us combine L because 2 times L is there. So it converts into m raised to 1, L raised to 1 plus 1, that is 2, and t raised to minus 2, right? So over here you check. On the left hand side we had m1 l1 t minus 2 and on the right hand side we have m1 l2 t minus 2. That means this equation is false. It is dimensionally not valid. Clear? Now one thing you have to take care that it was f equals to mas was a simple formula. If in case RHS has more than one terms like v equals to u plus at, right? So over here on the left hand side we have only v, but on the right hand side we have u plus at. That means you have to check the dimensional consistency of all the terms in RHS. That means you have to compare first v and u whether they both are having same dimensional formula, and then you have to check for v and at. So both must have same dimensional formula. So both the terms must have the dimensional formula same as the LHS. Then only it is dimensionally correct. Okay. But this is only when RHS has more than one term. Clear? So this was up to the second use of dimensional analysis. The third use will be elaborated and then explained with an example, because that is a lengthy method. So we are stopping up to here. Make proper notes and rewatch the video if you have any doubt or confusion.